Welcome back, everyone. So in this section, we are going to look about the self-registration. And again, the process will be the pretty much same. There will be no changes in the process. The only thing is that instead of sending the hotspot portal, now I am going to send the self-registration portal. That's the only difference. Nothing I will be changing. I will create a new portal. After creating a new portal, I will just update my authorization profile. Once I update my authorization profile, instead of getting the hotspot, and now I should get the self-registration portal. That's the only change we are going to do in this one. So now let's go back to the same scenario that will be under the workstation within the guest. I will go directly to the portals now. So within that portal now I can use the self-registration guest portal default one. So I will use this time as a default self-registration portal. And if you want to make any changes, you can go ahead and make changes over here as we did on the hotspot one. Right, so I will go to the portal settings. I don't want to change anything over here. You see that guest portal sequence, that should be fine. Login page. In the login page, I do not require access code because I am providing uh, what do we say? We are allowing the self-registration, allow guests to create their own accounts, and registration form. In that one, what options do you are required? So I need a username required. First name is required, last name, it's up to you. Or the email address, that's optional, and the mobile number is optional. And use mobile number as a username. If you want to use that one, you can go ahead, but I will be not doing anything with that one. And the location, guest can choose from these locations. So I think I don't have any options to change that one. So basically, this like conditions whichever you want to allow the user to provide. These all field will be provided into the form, and you are just saying that okay, these are required, these are not required. And SMS provider, I don't want to send any SMS, so don't worry about that one. Person being visited. So if you want to check mark this one because we want to know for they came to visit which person, and we also want to know what is the reason for that one. So now include a acceptable user policy on page, and I want the required acceptance. That is, I am forcing the user to accept that one. I am also forcing the user to scroll at till the end of that particular policy. Now require guest to be approved. No, because it's automatically we are approving automatically. We don't want manual approval over here so that it will take time until the administrator gets. We don't know when the guest will be visiting. So after this success page, it will show you the self-registration success page. Send credentials automatically using email or SML since we did not set up the SMTP. So what I will do, I will try to see if we are able to set up that SMTP or not. If we are able to verify our SMTP, that should be good. If not, I will just move forward. Not this one. Okay, I should be in the administrator and settings. And here I should have SMTP server. And I will define that SMTP as mail.sysable.com. And that should be fine. Username will be ice at sysable.com. That's the created. Moise123 hash. And test connection. Okay, still failing. So just forget about that one. Yep. Leave the page. All right. So if your SMTP server integration was successful, I would have selected the email and the email was sent to the user on behalf of the ICE. Self-registration success settings, we are showing these options. That should be fine. Okay, that's okay. Okay, guest changing password. Don't worry about it because is going to provide that one. Support information. We want to show them some information and that's it. So on the right hand side, I think over here you should see a diagram how it is going to do. So first it will do a try to log in, but over here we will select the self registration. So we will go to self registration and self registration success page. And after that, we are going back to the login. So ICE will provide the username and password. We will enter that username and password. We will provide the accept that AUP. And after that, it will tell you the how many devices that has been registered, and that should be the success page. And again, we can go ahead and customize the page. As we said, it's up to you. But since we already know about that one, so I'm just go ahead and click on save. So list location cannot be empty. So I just have to go to the location. Where is that one? Select that one, the by default one, and click on save. So I need to create the locations in order to get those ones. So we will skip that one. Right, so let's see if the switch has done the, nah, still not doing anything. It is not doing the change of authorization. So now once the portal is ready, let's go back to our policy, not policy. We go back to the authorization profile first on the results. So I will go to the authorization profile and I will go to the hotspot and I will change the name to self and I will not change anything. The only thing I will change is that the self registration. Okay, so here I have to change that one from hotspot to centralized web auth. And after that, I should be able to select this self-registration guest portal. So that's the only change. Everything will be remain the same. And click on save. We are only changing the portal, nothing else we are changing. So once that is being changed, we are not even changing the policy. It's only the authorization profile which needs to be changed. And apart from that, you see that we are not even changing anything over here. No changes over here. All right, so let's go back now. You see that it has changed the name from hotspot to the self-registration. So since we are doing the self-registration, we do not require this policy because once the registration is successful, it will automatically provide full access on that one. And now after that, I will go ahead and save this policy and that should be done. So now let's go back to our PC, which we have already taken. So I will close this one and I will disable this one. And I will come back to my switch. And if I say that do clear authentication sessions, so that it's going to authenticate one more time, click on enable this time again and do show authentication sessions to show authentication session interface gig 0/2 details. So we are looking for the same redirect URL. Okay, still it is running. So let it run. Okay, it's not sending that particular URL. Let's go back to the ICE. Okay, coming back to the results. Authorization profile. So we already changed that name to self. VLAN number 4 and self-registration gets portal by default and that should be fine. No changes, that's fine. And let me go back to the policy sets. And again, this one is the internal endpoints and yeah, everything looks fine. There is no change. So why it is not sending us the URL? So let me go ahead and disable that one. And also let me clear the authentication sessions one more time and enable. Now still it is not implementing that one. Map authentication is successful. And now I got the URL. So let's go back to the PC and check it in over there. So basically, when you have a physical switch, whenever you try to communicate with the internet, it will automatically redirect. Since we are using the virtual device, as you can see, that change of authorization is also not happening. So that's the reason I'm copying paste, doing the copy paste manually over here. So I accept the risk. And now you see that is asking for the username and password, but or I do have an option to register the guest access. Now the username will be Moise. Moise, first name will be Moise, second name will be Moise, Moise at sysable.com. And here I will select the mobile number. If you like, you can provide, otherwise no need to provide here. So I will just skip that one. Company will be person being visited. You see that there is a star mark. So that means I have to email address, provide that one. So I will say that Moise at reason for being visited is like client meeting. So once everything is been provided, you see that once I scroll at till the bottom, then only these agree terms and conditions have been enabled and click on register. So now it gives me the username Moise and the password is 9727. So click on sign on, go back here and say Moise and 9727 is the password and click on sign on. And again, I do have the accept user use policies, click on accept. And the current password, it is asking me to change that one 929727. And the new password will be mois123 hash and mois123 hash. So in the portal, it was by default selected. So that's the reason I did not change it. But if you want, you can just remove that option, uncheck that option. Password does not meet your password policies, so complexity. So I saying 9727, that should be. Let me see if this one works. Now, I need to disable that one, otherwise it's creating a problem. So what I can do is that in two ways I can resolve this one, just going to the identity settings. I can go to the user authentication settings, and here I can just disable this policy, untick these things. And once that is been done, so I will go ahead and click on save. And other thing which I want to show you is that going back to the administrator in the settings, I will go back to the protocols. I will go to the radius protocols and I will make sure that whenever the repeated failures are happening, I don't want that endpoint to be suspended. So in the production, this should be enforced, but in the lab, I'm just disabling that one. That should be fine. So now once that is been removed, so let's go ahead and check if that can resolve our problem 9727 and the password will be mois123 hash. It's still not resolving. So what I will do, I need to re-authenticate one more time. And before I re-authenticate, I will just remove that option. So I will go back to the work centers, go back to the portals. And I will select the self-registration guest portal. So I just don't want to change that password. I will remove that option itself. So where is the guest change password? So I will uncheck that one, disable that one and click on save. So now let's go back to our PC. I will disable this adapter and I will clear the authentication sessions and First, I will make sure that it has been saved. So let's go back to the operations, live logs, and now I'll go back to my PC, enable that one, come back to the switch and do show authentication session interface gig0/2 details. And now I should get a URL. I already got that once. This time it was pretty quick. Okay, since I have already registered, so what I can do is that I will try to use the same username and password. Advance, accept. So that's happening because of my eyes. And now I will select the same thing, Moise 9727. Let's see if things work or not. And click on sign on. Yeah, looks like you see that it's been Eyes already knows that it generated, so it has a record of it. So click on continue, and that was successful. Now coming back to the eyes, and now you should see that Moise has been authenticated. And once the authentication is happening, so it should get the IP address and the endpoint should be able to communicate with the internet. But if I go back to the do show IP, see that still it is denying the traffic. So what I can do to resolve that problem is that if I go back to my policy results, I think I have already allowed the traffic. Let me check it. In the self-registration, I will go back and I will see that whether I think here the access list might be denied. So that's the reason I'm getting denied. So I will permit over here. And the next time when I re-authenticate, it should have permit access. So that was your self-registration. And if I go back to the identity groups, and since it's a guest endpoint which is already been registered, so it doesn't make any difference. So in my output right now, see if you see the same thing. All right, so if I go back to my dashboard and now I should see the endpoints number one, that should be good. And let me look onto the guest dashboard. All right, so okay. Yep. So I click on the guest over here, and on the guest status, I should see some data should be generated. Looks like I do have some problem with the ISO. That's the reason I don't see anything. But as we know that the endpoint is already registered into the guest ID group, it should show up over here. All right, so that was your self-registration. I hope this was informative for you, and thank you.